Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Rosie here, and I plan on watching the Dead by Daylight movie, so you don't have to. I don't know why I'm still thinking about this movie, man. It's gonna be garbage. I guess it's because they just announced it today, so it's like, oh, everyone's, what are they gonna do? It's gonna be trash. Needless to say, I was scrolling on Facebook, and I'm in a bunch of horror movie groups, as you could probably guess. And everyone's talking. It's actually getting the announcement's making a bit more waves in my social media groups than I actually thought it would. So, out of curiosity, I checked the comments. Okay, now I checked the comments, and I'm only making this video because I saw a comment. I don't even think the comment had any likes. If it did, it wasn't very many. I don't remember, but the comment said that they talked about the premise, and then it brought up how it could be similar to Rob Zombie's 31. And admittedly, shortly after I uploaded my last video, I think about this shit. I admittedly thought the same thing. Is like, wow, it could be, like, when you think about the actual concept, there was actually a comment on my last video that said, like, it could, like, they could do, like, 5 killers, and they have to survive the killer set piece, and go from killer to killer to killer to killer, is what one of the comments on my last video about the movie said. And that also made me think of Rob Zombie's 31 a little bit. I think that's what made me initially think about it. So now I have two separate people bringing up similar things about Rob Zombie's 31 and how like Dead by Daylight movie could try to emulate that a little bit. Okay? Here's the problem, lads. As somebody who loves both of the Rob Zombie Halloweens, and I swear my schedule's just really bad right now. I am gonna get to the rest of his filmography as well as the Halloween Kills video. I know everyone's waiting for it, but I'll probably do it this weekend. But I have to make this video because I just reviewed 31 not too long ago, lads, and I feel like if Rob Zombie's 31 is coming up in conversation, I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable on the fucking movie because I reviewed it. That's not a good movie. That's the problem, lads. Oh, it could be like Rob Zombie's 31. Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. That movie's not good. I spent 47 minutes talking about why that movie wasn't good. That movie sucks. Dude, I love both of the Rob Zombie Halloweens, and I'm sure I'm gonna like House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. Those are the ones I don't know about. The Lords of Salem. I heard that's supernatural, which I said I don't really want to see Rob Zombie version of. But I also watched the trailer. I know he had help, so I'm really trying to get into his filmography a little more, I swear. But if we're talking about 31, I've seen 31. That wasn't good. And it's really interesting because that made me, I might give 31 a rewatch in the context of a Dead by Daylight movie. I have not given 31 a rewatch yet. I've watched the opening and the end a lot because I like those two scenes. I think 31 is in terms of opening and closing are not only the best in the Rob Zombie, but 31 has by far Rob Zombie's best opening that I've seen so far. And it's going to be really hard to top. The opening of 31 is very good. And I'm not going to lie, I like the end. I like the Dream On stuff. The more I watch that scene, and Rob's camera work in that scene, and just the score, and how he kind of uses the score in correlation with the camera work, I love that scene. Those two scenes are really good, but the problem was the rest of the movie sucks. And so we have to kind of think about why. First of all, the strengths of the problem is when you're talking about the strengths of 31, the biggest strength of 31 is Doomhead. Okay? Who in the fucking Dead by Daylight roster is Doomhead? Like, who's your equivalent? Fucking nobody. Fucking nobody. There is nobody on the Dead by Daylight roster outside of licenses that are like more appealing to me than Doomhead. I don't want to watch Huntress movie. Fuck off. Like, seriously. So, like, you're not, like, it's going to be very hard for this Dead by Daylight movie, especially if they go the silent route, where all the killers don't speak, to have that same screen presence as Doomhead. But Doomhead's also not in the movie much, because that's the biggest problem with the movie, is that Doomhead's simply just not in it enough. He's not in it enough. There's a lot of fucking pacing issues in Rob Zombie's 31, which kind of goes back to that comment, a comment I made in my last video, as well as, like, the idea of there being a lot of killers in the movie, and they're going from killer to killer to killer, kind of like a Saw movie where they go from trap to trap to trap in the Saw. The pacing of the movie of 31 is bad, because that's what they do. They go from killer to killer to killer to killer, and the result is the script doesn't have a lot of time to breathe. There's not a lot of time to breathe in 31, and like, none of the killers do anything. Like, there's not a lot of good scenes outside of Doomhead in 31. Midget Hitler has some moments, and then the chain, like, there's moments. Sexhead and her boy toy, Death, Sex and Death kind of just fall flat. Their whole section's not good at all. And the Chainsaw Brothers, they have really bad dialogue. Like, a lot of this stuff is admittedly Rob Zombie issues. Like, they could clean up the bad dialogue and shit. But overall, the problem with 31 overall is the pacing. I doubt you, even by cleaning up the Rob Zombie dialogue, you really can't do much to fix that movie outside of, like, a total rewrite. Because the pacing of 31 is just so bad. It's just so bad, and there's too many villains in 31. If they put 6 killers in the Dead by Daylight movie, and they go from killer to killer to killer to killer, that's going to be bad. You're not going to see enough of any killer for you to feel like you got your money's worth out of the movie. What? You're going to have 10 minutes of Trapper, 10 minutes of Huntress, 10 minutes of Hag, 10 minutes of Nurse, and 10 minutes of Wraith. And that's your movie? Like a 50 minutes and then 30 minutes of setup, and then that's it? That's your movie. 10 minutes Doctor, 2 in there maybe? Like, how much screen time is one killer going to really get? You will not get enough of any killer that you want if they do 20 of them. If they do 5 or 6 or 7, there's just simply not going to be enough screen time. Which, again, they can do sequels, sure, but, like, the pacing of this movie, and like I said, the core direction, like what my comment was about the direction, is they're not going to have a lot of direction. They're not going to have a centralized focus, which is the problem in 31. It's the problem in 31. And the way to fix 31, here, like, we're talking about 31, the way to fix 31 specifically, is more Doomhead. Doomhead needed to be in the movie a lot more than he was. To make the movie feel like it had a centralized antagonist, which it didn't really feel like it had, because even those fucking gambling people in 31 didn't really do anything. And that whole plot line was pretty bad and underdeveloped as fuck. And I talk about that in my 31 review, about how it was underdeveloped and shit. It's like they're out, and then Doomhead, the only interesting thing in the movie, is simply not in it enough to fucking save the movie. So, like, let's pretend they get Doctor really right. Okay, let's pretend Doctor's in the movie. I always thought he was the character with the most potential. If you've seen his, like, little lore video, his lore, like, is the least bad, I would say. It's the most, like, I mean, I'm not going to call anything in Dead by Daylight original, because the thing about Dead by Daylight, here's another problem. Dead by Daylight's killers are all based on horror tropes. So, like, none of the killers are wildly original. That's like the Hag is a witch, Trapper's the big brute, Wraith's kind of a phantom, and the Nurse is a ghost, kind of. Well, she is a ghost. She's the ghost of Sally, whatever her face is. And then the Doctor's the mad scientist. Like, they have all of these unoriginal ideas, but it's like, it works in the game. It works in the game because you're representing the tropes of the different aspects of horror, which is what the game Dead by Daylight is, a love letter to the horror genre. Okay? But in terms of its actual characters, they are not original ideas. So whatever, like, they're not going, I don't think the killers are going to translate to the film very good. I don't think it's going to be very good. But, like, let's pretend they get Doctor in there and he's really good, okay? Let's just pretend, for the sake of the argument, the Doctor screen time is really good. Okay, doctor's on screen for 10 minutes. Then he's gone. They get out of his room and he's gone. And then you have the Trapper scenes are just Jason-esque ripoffs. They won't be the worst things in the world, but they won't be groundbreaking. And Hag's in there, and let's pretend they make her really cringe. Okay? And again, we're just spitballing here. We're just taking random killers. Hag's really cringe. Let's just say that they make her cringe. And so her 10 minutes are really bad. Like, her scenes are bad. Doctor's good. Like, you have the potential to be absolutely all over the place tonally, visually. It's not going to work if you do a 31 style of movie where you go from killer to killer to killer to killer. The thing about Rob Zombie, here's the thing, another thing about 31. Like, 31, you could go from area to area to area because you're not leaving Rob Zombie's visual style. Rob Zombie has a very distinct visual style he goes for. Granted, it's not the best executed in 31. His Halloween movies are definitely more... There's some interesting visuals in 31, don't get me wrong, but like in terms of like the visuals being used for things and like actually being good beyond the fact they're visually interesting, his Halloween movies do a much better job at that. But, like, you're not leaving Rob Zombie's style. Like, if you go from Hag's fucking Hag's Swamp to Billy's Cold Wind Farm, that's going to be a huge distinct change in the visual style. And I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. It's like the Star Wars. Have you ever like the Star Wars movies? Remember, I believe Mr. Plinkett from Red Letter Media, Mr. Plinkett from the Red Letter Media Star Wars review of The Phantom Menace, very famous review. And if you haven't seen his review of The Phantom Menace, I highly recommend it. You will. It's very informative about film as a whole and why The Phantom Menace is a bad movie. Which I mean, yeah, but like, there's this thing called the ending multiplication effect, where, I mean, it's not the exact same thing as going from killer to killer to killer because everything's happening simultaneously. But, like, he talks about how the distinct changes in visual, I can't remember if visually was a big part of it, but the tonal shifts from scene to scene to scene were just a lot to keep track of. And, like, the climax of The Phantom Menace doesn't really work for that reason. It's in terms of emotional involvement. Now, obviously, I could enjoy The Phantom Menace because I know it's not a good movie. I love Star Wars in general. Like, I'm not picking the Phantom Menace apart with a huge razor. Like, who's gonna pick the Phantom Menace apart anymore? Especially since if you're a big Star Wars fan and you want to know the questions that you have, the EU answers it anyway. Like, you know, so it's definitely not the same thing. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like you can get tonal whiplash if you just, like, Rise of Skywalker was badly paced. Like, speaking of the Star Wars, like, that's because kind of what happens in Rise of Skywalker. They go, at the beginning of the movie, they're here, then they're here, then they're here, then they're here, then they're here. They go from planet to planet to planet to planet, and the pacing is just fucking garbage in Rise of Skywalker. I feel like, and again, we're talking about pacing here a lot, because that's what, if you do the killer to killer to killer in order to maximize the amount of killers in the movie, like, your pacing's going to be shit. You might not get one or two of them right, and then with the ones you do get right, your audience is just going to wish that they were in the movie more. It's just, I don't think that's what you do. So, like, the more you think about it, like, and again, that's because I learned, like, I thought about that more and more and more, and then once I saw, like, the 31, and then 31's not good. Like, it's like going through the issues of 31 again would just be redundant, because, like, we've explained the issues and why it doesn't work in terms of the antagonist, but it also doesn't work in terms of the protagonist, because you're going from place to place to place. And again, this is an issue in Rise of Skywalker too. When you have bad pacing, the issues kind of are the same. When you have bad pacing, the characters have no room to breathe. The only character in 31 that got any development time is Charlie, and even then it wasn't much. Like, you can see that Charlie's slowly becoming more mentally like the antagonizers in 31, like the heads. Like, I'm just gonna call them the heads, like Doomhead and his companions, very loosely companions, and his associates. Like, you can see she's slowly becoming like them, but it's so underdeveloped, and the movie doesn't really have time to explore that idea because of the fact that they're trying to shove you into the next set piece as fast as fucking possible, as to not burn as much fucking screen time to take away from what's going to happen in those set pieces. So, and again, what's happening in the set pieces is not good. So like I don't really know. I don't think that's going to work, because then you're not going to have enough time to do the protagonist. If you're so worried about what the killers are doing, it's going to be very easy to neglect the protagonist and have a shitty script. And if your script is bad, good luck casting anybody good to play the fucking roles. Like, you have to have a good script, especially if you want Jenna Ortega as Meg, who I think that's a good casting choice. I mean, I think Jenna Ortega is wildly overrated. I think she's wildly overrated. But she'll put, like, she is definitely a good casting choice in this movie because she fits, like, what the demographic likes. She made her name in Scream and Wednesday in particular. She's got those horror roots, and she's going to be in the next Scream movie, so she's clearly doesn't think herself above doing something like this. And then if you could cast Jenna Ortega as Meg, and she can carry the movie. She should be the main character, I think. I don't even, this is going to sound terrible. I mean, I don't know much about her. Like, I don't fucking know. Meg, could she be Claudette? I don't fucking know. Is she black? I have no idea. So that's what I know. So, like, you can, like, Jenna Ortega as the lead of the movie, I think is a good idea, but she's not gonna fucking do your movie if the script is bad and she doesn't have much to work with. She's not gonna do it. She might not do it anyway, and she probably shouldn't do it anyway. Fucking Jackson, my server, was like, don't wish that on Jenna Ortega. But it's just, I don't know, dude. I don't know. I don't think this movie's going to be good. It's like, I don't, like, the really sad part is, here's another thing the more you think about. I'm trying to just get all my thoughts out of this movie out today. If you devote your time, here's the thing. If you devote your time and resources to taking Dead by Daylight and saying, what is the best way to make this a fucking movie? You will not make a good IP movie. You won't use the IP. If you take the concept, ground it, centralize it, pick people to focus on, you're not going to be making as good of a use of the IP as you could have, because you're going to use what? Trapper? Because this is the argument against the One Killers. You're going to use what? Trapper, who is... He may be the guy on the box, but here's the thing. In terms of how Trapper kills people, least interesting in the game. Least interesting visually in the entire fucking game. He's got a sword. He's got a big sword. He hits you with the sword, and then you hit his traps, and then got him. Like, is Trapper going to be able to actually carry a movie by himself for fucking... If you go do him by himself, and is a movie about Trapper going to be interesting? This is when you have to incorporate his lore into it to maybe make it a little more interesting. Like, how do you... maybe I'll have to go through the lore a little bit more to see how you could fucking make a story about the 4 originals and Trapper to be as interesting as it possibly could be, and maybe that can be something down the line that we do, because you're going to have to do some character stuff involving the relation of the survivors to the killer and their place in the actual realm itself. You're going to have to use the setting to like do all this. But like, are you going to have enough fucking time to do all that and still shove you don't have time to do all the world building and set pieces stuff to make a good movie with a good script and a good story if your goal is to shove as many killers in the movie as possible. You're not going to have time to do all that. And then, even if you succeed at it, half the fan base is going to be like, well, I wish there were more killers in it, so I can't fucking rate it too high out of 10. I'll give it like a 5 for what it was, but I wanted to see more killers. I wanted to see Nurse, Blight, Spirit, who I don't think are going to be in the movie. Your chances of getting in the movie are higher depending on how old you are, I think. Your seniority over the roster, if you will. So I don't think we're going to see a Spirit or a Clown or anything like that, or a Blight. But it's just like, that's things to think about. The more of the IP you actually use, the more you have to shoehorn, and then the more you shoehorn, the worse your pacing is, and the worse your movie is overall. That's why I think they need to just treat it like it's garbage, because that's what it is. If you're going to treat it like it's garbage, and you give it a low budget, then you could, like, it's like, but you could make a garbage movie that would please the fans. Something that pleases the fan base, that gets as many killers as you can in there, is going to be a joke of a movie and a motion picture that gets laughed at by any serious reviewer of horror content. Like, that's the thing. Like, if they make a movie that has awful pacing and is bad, a Cody Leach probably won't like it. A Dr. Wolfula probably won't like it. These guys that review horror content consistently, and that's their whole channel is I review horror movies, they're not going to like it if the movie sucks. Like, I don't think. Like, maybe they'd surprise me. Maybe, like, but Cody Leach likes Rocky 5. I don't know. I actually haven't seen his review on that, so maybe a little bit surprised me. But I just can't see a movie that's pig slop getting well received. But again, I mean, I didn't hate Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, and maybe that's because I went to the movie theater. So it's like, if I go in with the if I go in knowing it's trash, this is a movie where I have to definitely watch the trailer for to kind of see what we're getting. If I go in thinking it's going to be awful, like I'll definitely be able to lower my expectations, which might help. I'm not expecting much. I've never had higher expectations for a movie than Joker. Joker, I had very high expectations for, and they were met. I'm not thinking much of this. I think this is going to be awful. No matter what way they go, they're going to have problems. And I think that's definitely been proven here by the 31 comparison that I'm seeing people starting to make overall. If I can kind of close this video out now. The idea that people are already starting to say it could be like 31, and that is a thought that people are having now. That's not a good sign. 31 is a bad movie. Let's not forget that. 31 is bad. It will likely, once I'm done watching all of Rob's shit, it will probably be his worst movie. It probably will. Outside of the two good scenes at the beginning and the end, it's 90 minutes of... Rob Zombie movies are longer than that. It's probably an hour and 5 minutes of garbage. Pretty much. Like, being said you could be like 31 is not good. And it's easy to say, well, 31 was dog shit, and let's fix the problems of 31. But if you fix the problems of 31 in the pacing to make a good movie, you're not going to be making as much usage out of the Dead by Daylight IP as you could. So there's really no winning. That's why, again, DOA. Like I said earlier, DOA. This movie has very little chance of being good the more you think about it. Especially when the phrase, it could be like 31, comes up. Because I think people know 31's issues. Sure, like, 31 is bad. They all know it's bad. But it's like, you know 31's bad and 31 has issues, but do you know why 31 is a bad movie? Because I feel like if 31 if these guys are doing it, they need the people they hire to direct. They're hiring people to direct. They're not, James Wan's not directing. I read that. They're hiring somebody to write and somebody to fucking direct. The people that write this movie need to watch 31 first and understand why it's bad. If they don't do that, they have a much higher chance of making something awful. All right, there we go. That's all I'm going to say. I really only made this because it gave me an excuse to talk about Rob Zombie again, which I haven't done in a while. All right, I'm getting the hell out of here, lads. GG's.